My name is Jason, and you're watching Fri-Jays. In today's video, we'll be talking about semantic clustering. And semantic clustering is an unsupervised learning task in which we try to group words or sentences with similar meaning. And instead of feeding the model with fruits, we'll be feeding the model with sentences, and hopefully the algorithm will output clusters that will make sense, that will give us a better idea about user intents. Okay, so let's scroll down. All right, on the left side here we have sentences, and on the right side we have a cluster ID. And a cluster ID is an ID of which the model thinks that a sentence belongs to. And if we would group this and move this to the left side, then we can see that on the right side here we have cluster 0, we have cluster 1, we have cluster 2, and so on. And if you look at cluster ID number 0, then we can see that the questions here are about book a taxi to go to Sebastian's, book an Uber to my next meeting, I need an Uber right now, is there any Uber around? So basically we can say here that the intent of the user is I want to book a taxi, right? And if you look at cluster ID number 1, then we have here, let's see what we got. Oh god, I think I really need new glasses, by the way. Um, but we can see that we have a sentence: how far is frying pan from the Highline Ballroom? How far is the Nomad Bar? So basically, the intent here is someone wants to know how far something is, right? Now, if we would also display the actual intent and filter this again, then we can see on the right side now the actual intent. So that we can see that for cluster ID number 0, which is what the model thinks that a sentence belongs to, we can see that all of these actual intents is about request a ride, right? And if we look at cluster ID number 1, we can see that the intent is labeled as get place details. And if we would expand this and show 25 entries, then we can look at cluster ID number 2, and this is about an intent book restaurant. And if you look at the sentence here of cluster ID 2, they all are about a person who wants to book a restaurant or make a reservation. So the model did actually a good job in creating clusters of sentences that have a similar meaning. And if we would scroll back down, then we can see here for cluster ID number 3, this sentence was labeled with search place. And if you look at the sentence, then we can see show me the parks with swings and pony rides around my aunt's place. Can I park at Garswing Theater? Okay, then we can see that indeed this part the model didn't do a really good job in making clusters. So let's move on to cluster ID number 4. Then we can see here we have 3 sentences that's part of the intent compare places. And if you look at the sentence, is the view more expensive than Masa? I'd like to know whether Gali is more expensive than Raos. Okay, then I can see that the model did actually a good job here to create clusters. So this is an example of semantic clustering in practice. So this can help us to detect intent, and it can also give us an idea about intents, right? So that we can discover intents and also if they are correctly labeled or not. And this is very powerful when it comes to creating intents from a lot of data. So if you have thousands or 2,000 sentences, or even more than that, semantic clustering can help you to group this data and make it more structured, so that you can easily label this data afterwards or check if your intents are correctly labeled or not. All right, that's it for today's video, and I'm looking forward again to the next Friday.